I am Dr. Frank Pio, a relationship expert. We would like to start by looking at how relationships influence people's lifestyles in marriage. And when does a relationship start? Anybody in a relationship, you need to comprehend what we mean by a relationship cycle. Take a sample of a circle. A circle divided into 4 quadrants. That's what I'm calling the relationship cycle. Quadrant number 1, we'll look at dating. You remember sometime back we did look at dating. Cycle number 2, we'll look at what happens in positive intimacy. So we are looking at the relationship cycle and how it can be a ground for understanding the different levels of intimacy within marital setting. In the relationship cycle, quadrant number 3 looks at the negative or the negative intimacy, which is the negative side of love. In the relationship cycle, still in quadrant number 4, we look at the transactional relationships. Once again, in our relationship cycle, we are looking at members. If we are to follow each other closely, when people start a relationship, we all start by dating. We date for one reason or another. Major reason as to why people date, or as to why people enter relationship, or as to why people enter in marriage. It is a security reason. People enter in marriage for security reasons. There are 4 to 5 security reasons. Today, allow me to unpack one of the security reasons. Security reason number 1, people enter marriage for social security reasons. Number 2, people enter marriage for physical security reasons. Number 3, people enter marriage for emotional security reasons. Number 4, people enter marriage for economic security reasons. And number 5, for spiritual security reasons. You will understand that for one reason or another, a young lady or a younger man attracts you. That will be a physical security reason why one would enter into marriage. Others enter into marriage for another security reason that is physical, because they need children, but also others, they may need to balance an aspect of sexuality within their life, which is a physical security reason. The other security reason is that people enter marriage for emotional reasons, or security reason number 2 is the emotional security. People enter in marriage because they are seeking some form of emotional security, in a way that when they are having these emotions, how do they manage, how do they quench, how do they resolve, how do they balance these emotions? Practically, whom do you share with your painful moments or with your joyful moments? That we enter in marriage seeking that. The other security reason is people enter in marriage for social security reason. In society, people will wonder, why isn't so and so getting married? Others will marry for prestige. Others will marry because society is telling them, you have taken along without getting a partner, or you are in the age where you should get a partner. Others, their professions call upon them to have settled in marriage. Hence, a social security reason. The other security reason that we are looking at here is that people enter in marriage because they are looking at literally the economic security reason. And you will see on some of the television or in some of the media, people that are looking for partners, they would want to look for somebody that is economically stable. But the good news is, I would like to remind you that, you can create any form of economic path even with somebody that you started with from zero. So it doesn't have always to be that somebody has an economic muscle in order for them to get married. The other security reason is the spiritual security reason. Depending on different denominations or ethnic or cultural backgrounds, people enter marriage due to those demands. So in the first relationship cycle, we have looked at the first quadrant, which is dating. So anybody that wants to date, or anybody that is dating, but with a focus of wanting to get married, we look at those security reasons. People marry because of security reasons. Others marry the other security reason. They may want an address. because so and so wants to be at so and so's place, which is a security, literally it is a security reason. Good, cool. The other quadrant that we want to look at is quadrant number 2. People marry because, or in the relationship cycle, after somebody has dated, the positive side of this love appears. People are in a honeymoon. Even if they tell you that family has whichever chronic illness, that family is like this, that kind of guy you are going with is not the best match that you need. Once people are in love, they are in love. You know, Shakespeare once said that love is blind, and another anonymous author indicated that if love is blind, then marriage has eyes to see. But at this moment, in the positive intimacy, these guys are not seeing anything. Even if you tell them anything, whatever they are looking at is the positive side of love. In other words, that's why we are saying that they are in the honeymoon of their life. Everything is good. Even the mere negative that any passerby would see, they will not see it because they are in love. For those of you who are in love, oh dear, and those of you that have been in love, you have experienced this and you can be my best witness. The third quadrant in the relationship cycle is what we are looking at as the negative intimacy. Like you see the coin has a head and a tail. Cool. The head is the positive intimacy. In anybody, in any relationship, there will be a downside of life. There will be a negative intimacy. The negative intimacy begins to appear in the third quadrant, and that's when people begin experiencing the toxicity in marriage. They begin experiencing the negativity in marriage. They begin seeing, now that's when one of the partner will begin wondering, what did I look for from a person who has that kind of height, that this kind of shape of the head, this kind of the body size, this kind of, you know, look at the eyes, look at the nose, look at the shape. They will begin scrutinizing. Now they are literally at the crossover to beginning to know that now in marriage, things are beginning to unfold in a way that brings the reality of this kind of living arrangement, whereby if you did not realize that you have a quarrelsome partner, this is the time you'll begin realizing you have a quarrelsome partner. This is the time you'll begin realizing you got a lazy person. This is the time you'll begin realizing that this person has wasted your time, has wasted your life, is wasting your opportunities. You lost opportunities. You know, the negative side, the tail contains the venom. The tail begins throwing the venom back, you begin seeing these negative things that you never saw. Now, this is where I would like to encourage the people that are in marriage and those that are opting for marriage and those that are entering in marriage, that marriage has two sides. And anybody in a relationship, it has two sides. It has the positive intimacy and it has the negative intimacy. The positive intimacy shows us the positive side of love. The negative intimacy gives us the negative side of love, where things will turn out sour. It may not be your making. Other factors may set in. You never had other responsibility centers that have tuned in. Age has tuned in. Work has tuned in. Children have tuned in. And other demands surrounding you are throwing some pressure that seems to be perceived according to you as a negativity. The good news is the people that remain and scrutinize and understand this form of negative emotions in the third quadrant, when they overcome this, they master the dynamics of managing a relationship. Bad news, or unfortunately, some of the people that will not contain, whose resilience is tested, they opt out. That's when we will see other people running out of marriage, separating, divorcing. That shoots in. Now, before one enters into quadrant number 4, should have experienced negative intimacy and felt they could not contain and they dropped out of this relationship. I would like to say this, that those that have dropped out, these are relationship dropouts. Oh dear. They drop out from this relationship because of the too much pressure. They can't manage it. And that's why they will opt for a separation or for a divorce. Now, the way you separate or the way you divorce, if one divorced with toxicity, with negativity, they will end up in a negative relationship in the fourth quadrant, because in the fourth quadrant we did say that that's the quadrant of the transactional relationship, and that's what gives you the way you will transact with this person every time you meet. Bear me witness, you have seen people that have separated or divorced. Every time they meet, they are fighting, they are quarreling. It's a good sign that they separated with a negative transaction. And those that separate with a positive transaction, they are the ones you realize people meet each other, they greet each other, and they go their own way. But others that are not able, they need help in one way or another. So where is the help? The best way to get help on this relationship cycle is to go back to where the relationship started. What were the security reasons? Aren't you going to miss these security reasons? That's why people in the negative intimacy, they need to go back and look into the quadrant of positive intimacy. Check and see what were the good things that were in this relationship, and what were the security reasons that brought us into this relationship. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your life in your relationships.